let's loosen up our backs with some exercises that we can do from standing. And we're going to start with the roll downs. So come to a good standing posture. So your feet and knees want to be about hip width apart, and check that your feet are neither turned in nor turned out. And you've got the same amount of weight through the front of your foot as you have through your heel. So you're not going back onto your heel or too far forward onto the front of your foot. So the pelvis in neutral, shoulders relaxed, spine lengthening away from your hips and your pelvis. And we're going to do 5 of these. There really isn't any point in doing many less than that. If you want to do 6, then that's absolutely fine. So I'm going to stand sideways on just to demonstrate this. So let's start with breathing in to lengthen up through your spine. As you breathe out, roll from the top of your neck, so isolate your neck. Don't collapse through the front of your body as you carry on rolling down. Shoulders and arms stay relaxed. Let your head be relaxed and heavy. And just come down to however far you feel is comfortable for your spine on this particular day. So don't force anything. Try and keep straight behind your legs without locking your knees, and try not to take your weight back onto your heels. Let your head be relaxed and your arms be relaxed, and focus your breath into the back of your rib cage here. So breathing in and breathing out. Let's stay here for another breath. Breathing out. Now pull in your core. Remember, you're rolling up from the base of your spine. So work from the pelvis, shoulders stay relaxed away from your ears. Just tuck that pelvis all the way around. The hip bones are all the way to the front, and then your spine lengthens up on its own. Breathe in to lengthen through your spine. Breathe out, roll your neck down, your upper back. So keep your focus on which part of the back is rolling up and over. Keep your tummy scooped in. Don't collapse through the front of your body. Coming down as far as you feel comfortable. Hopefully each time you come down a little bit more. Just check you're not holding onto your tension in your arms and your head. So just let them really relax. Not shifting your weight back onto your heels, staying straight behind your knees. And stay here for a couple of breaths, focusing your breath into your back. And getting a really good stretch through the back of your legs, which also will have a direct influence on your back. If they're very tight, then it pulls on your back. And as you expand your ribs out to the side, it also helps stretch your spine. So coming up on an out breath, pulling in your core, coming up from the pelvis, getting that pelvis all the way around into neutral, so the hip bones are right to the front, these hip bones here, so facing the front. And then I'm going to add another little variation to the next one. So breathing in to lengthen through your spine, breathing out, roll your neck down, your upper back, mid back. So if you find that you can't roll down very far, then just keep rolling down and don't worry about this next adaptation. But if you're almost at the floor, or if your hands have come to the floor, bend your knees so a bit more of your hand comes down. So either let your fingertips come down, or your fists, or your hand, whatever challenges your hand position. And then keep your hands where they are, and just very slowly and carefully see how much you can straighten behind your knees. Your knees stay hip width apart, and you're thinking of staying grounded through your heels and lengthening your bottom away from your heels to really stretch behind the knees. A fantastic hamstring stretch. You can feel it going right up into the base of your pelvis or your buttocks. So do about 3 or 4 of those, and then come on up. Again, restacking your spine from the base all the way up. So we've done 3. Let's do 2 more. Breathing in to lengthen through your spine. Breathing out, roll your neck down. Now again, if you find that you're very tight and that it takes longer than one of your breaths, then just breathe naturally. Don't hold on to tension. Don't hold your breath. Coming down as far as you feel comfortable. Again, bend your knee so you can get a bit more of your hand on the floor than you could otherwise. Keeping your hands where they are. Let's do 4 bends and stretches, keeping grounded through the heels, lengthening your bottom away from your heels and stretching behind those knees. And then coming on up, pulling in your tummy, shoulders stay relaxed away from your ears. So you really hopefully now will start to feel that things are a lot looser. And 1 more, breathing in to lengthen through your spine. Breathing out, roll your neck down, your upper back, going to your mid back, hands relaxed, your jaw is relaxed, your face is soft, coming down however far you can come down. Bend your knees. So now I'm going to bring my hands a bit nearer to me rather than in front of my feet, just to challenge myself a bit more. And one more knee. Bend and straighten, and then coming on up. From the lower back, restacking the spine like a pile of books from the lower back all the way up to the top. So those are 5 we've done today. So if you feel like you're almost there but want to loosen up a little bit more, then you can add a couple more on your own. So now we're going to do a stretch which gets rotation in our spine. And you're going to come with your legs wide. Again, come to however wide you feel comfortable, depending on how tight you are. Make sure that as you do this, you don't stick your bottom out, so you keep your pelvis tucked under hip bones to the front. You're going to come forward with a flat back, so hinging at your hip creases here. So come forward with a flat back, and then relax your head and your arms down, and your back will round slightly. And you can adjust your foot position here. If you've gone too wide, then bring them a little bit closer, or if you want to take them a bit further apart, then you can do. And we just stay here to get a really good stretch through a different part of the back of the leg and also on the inside of your thigh. Now don't shift your weight or bend one leg, but rotate your body from the waist over your right leg, and your left arm will come across and hold on to the outside of your leg, and then bring your right arm up to the ceiling and see if you can see your fingertips. Keep your tummy pulled in, keep your shoulders away from your ears, and you're thinking of wrapping your rib cage around your spine. And then bring that arm back down. Come back to the center. Just check you haven't shifted your weight or bent your knee or bent your leg, and then rotate your body over your left leg with your right arm coming across. Now I'm holding on quite near my ankle, but if that's too tight, you can have your hand behind your knee, behind your thigh, wherever you feel you're not creating too much of a stretch, and then bring your arm up to the ceiling, wrapping your rib cage around the spine, and seeing if you can see your fingers and getting a really good stretch to the side of your rib cage here, side of your body. And then bring that arm down, let both hands come back to the center, and then let's do 2 more each side. So imagine that your spine is like this slippery pole and your rib cage is just wrapping itself around it, rotating around it. Stay there for 1 or 2 breaths, then bring your upper arm down, let both hands come back to the center, rotate over to the other leg. And this is a great way. You need to get rotation in your spine. So with the roll downs, you're taking your spine forward. With the giraffe, you're getting some really good rotation in your spine. Let's do 1 more each way. You get a bit more rotation by pulling on the outside of your leg just to get a little bit further around. That arm down, and let's do 1 more over the left leg. And then bring that arm down, come back to the center. Now I like to stay here just for another breath or so, taking my legs a bit further apart, seeing how much of my arms and my head I can get down, getting a really good stretch through the inside of my thighs here. And then I'm going to keep my hands on the floor. I'm going to bring my feet back in line with my hands. I can bend my knees a bit or come onto my fingertips if necessary, and then tuck my head down, tuck my pelvis under, and roll up like we did coming up out of a roll down. All the way up. So those 2 stretches are fantastic for the spine. Let's get a nice stretch in the side of our spine now. So come to standing with your feet slightly wider than hip width and get a really good solid stance through both your legs. The same amount of weight through both your legs. And let's start by stretching the right side. So bring your right arm up, keep your shoulder relaxed, and then take hold of your right wrist with your left hand, and then lift up and over. So you're lifting away from the hip. Think about lifting the bottom rib away from that hip bone and get a really good stretch here. So I'm not bringing my shoulder up to my ear, I'm just getting a really good stretch all the way down the side here. And then pulling your core, come back to the center. And now hold on to your left wrist with your right hand. And again, lift up and away from the hip and the waist and come over this side. So think about lifting that bottom rib away from the hip. And then pulling your core, come back to your side. Now, if you find that you've got a shoulder problem and you can't do that, then you can always just come down like this, and then just start taking your arm up at whatever level is comfortable. So you still get a stretch, not quite as much, but you can still get a very good stretch on your side. So that's another way that you can do that. So let's do a couple more each side. So bring this arm up. I'm going to hold onto this wrist, lift up and over. So I'm also not collapsing in the underneath part of this curve here. So I'm keeping lengthened on both sides of my waist. So get a stretch to the side. Now I'm going to just rotate from the shoulders. The top shoulder is going down towards the floor, just a touch, but my hips have stayed where they are. And I've got another slight different stretch in my rib cage here, going down into my hip. And then come back to the side before you come back to the center. And then let's swap over, lift up and over this way. So keeping lengthened through both sides of my waist. And then just rotate the top shoulder down towards the floor, just a touch, getting a slightly different stretch through my rib cage and my hip, side of my body, back to the center, and come back. And I'm going to do one more each way, but I'm now going to keep this hand here. I'm going to bring this arm up and over, and I'm going to slide this hand down, reaching this arm over from the arm, not bringing the shoulder up to the ear. So you also get a good stretch through here as well. And then again, I'm going to turn my top shoulder down towards the floor just a touch, but keeping this arm more or less above the head. So don't bring the arm down here, you'll lose the stretch. And then pull in your core to bring your spine to the center. Bring this arm down. So let's take this arm up, slide down this way. Get a good stretch through my left side, so lifting my bottom rib away from the hips. And then I'm going to rotate my top shoulder down towards the floor a bit, keeping my hips where they are. And then back to the side before you bring the spine up and relax your arm down. So that's a nice little routine that you can do standing. It's taking the spine in different directions to get it loose in different directions. So a good one to do on a very regular basis and often as you get the time.